So, welcome back. I'm really sorry for some technical issues. As you know, for now, we have our fantastic speaker, Nimrod Bar-Levin, co-founder and biz dev at Dynamo10x, with the lecture 2002 Trends and Actions by Social Teams in the Games Arena and the Ones Expected. Nim, stage is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you once again. So hello everyone, and thank you, Stacy, for inviting me. I don't know what you heard before, but I will start from scratch. We will talk about today. We'll talk about a few things. I would like to start with telling you in one sentence why I give this talk. Then maybe suggesting to you why to listen. Then we'll go to the more deep part of the presentation, which are 2022, to go on the higher level to see what happened there, and then deep dive, which is probably the main slide or the main part of this presentation, because I'm talking about very practical methods by social teams out there. And then we'll have an educated guess, a guesstimate about 2023. So let's start. So the first thing I like to share, and we learned a lot during 2022 from millions of interactions and our customers, and we like to share it in a free, easy, and nice way, and hopefully to bring you social teams out there to perform better. The second reason why I give this talk, we'll keep it to the last slide in 22 minutes, more or less, and then you will see the second reason. Why to listen? I suggest to listen, since we streamed millions of social users, millions of social interactions, and those customers of ours are supposed to be similar to you, with the social teams, community managers, communication managers, social managers, and so on and so forth. And in the end of the day, again, I think that we can be beneficial for you by listening to this chat. Let's move to the bottom lines. So first of all, let's start with the higher level of 2022. Again, I'm talking about what happened. So what we saw, okay, we saw a very interesting kind of mode of operation by social teams in the gaming industry out there. And I divided into a matrix of 2 by 2. So you have on the left side, you see robotish kind of social activities in comparison to authentic ones. And above, on top, you can see manual social activities in comparison to scalable ones and more technological ones. So we saw that, of course, on the bottom left side, to do a robotish kind of social activities manually, it's kind of stupid. No one does it, okay? But going to the more important stuff, we saw that our customers, they operate in the top left and bottom right kind of social activities. I will explain. On the top left, we see social activities, postings and interactions and so on and so forth that are very authentic. We'll talk about in a second, in the next slide, how, okay, or how did they bring this authenticity. Okay, very authentic and very manual, human to human, P2P, social teams with even with one teammate, but also with dozens of teammates. They work in a labor-intensive kind of daily routine. On the bottom right part, okay, we saw that there are many scalable activities, social activities, but they are very much robotish, which means that are heavily chat-oriented. Social users are not so fond of it. They always search for the way to interact in an authentic way with a human, and so on and so forth. What we saw during 2022, that there is a new block, authentic and scalable. How come? It's not magic. It's technology that evolved mainly, but not only, mainly with AI, with advanced AI models. We'll talk about it. later on today. And we saw that many of our customers, they try or they start to work in their social activities or to run their social activities in a very scalable, hence very efficient way, but without jeopardizing or hurting the authenticity. Okay, let's go now deep dive to what they've done. But in short, we called it, we summarized it in a nice sentence: goodbye manual, hello scale. Now, of course, it's not 100% goodbye manual, and it's not 100% hello scale. There are many, many important tasks and creative tasks, of course, that are done by humans and will be kept be done by humans. But there is also the way to, again, to create a scalable authenticity. This is the main change, or the high-level change of 2022. Now let's go and deep dive to the actual different aspect that we saw. Again, everything that I say today is based on what we saw social teams that in the social arena. By the way, when I say social, I mean all the social platforms. It's still mainly the Meta platforms, Facebook and Instagram, but also others, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and so on and so forth. So the first thing that we saw, maybe it's very trivial for you, I hope it's trivial for you, it's keeping on community building and reinforcement. On this aspect, we saw a very interesting element, which is segmentation within communities. What do I mean by that? I mean two things. One, we've seen ad hoc communities for specific segmentation, for example, for specific segments. For example, the classic one, a VIP community. Okay, but not only this segment. So we saw sub-communities. Okay, the second thing that we saw is that within the community, okay, within a community, there are segmentations, and the social teams by the brands, they act and behave differently and interact differently with different segments of the users. Again, the classic is VIP, not VIP, but we also saw different interactions for different LTVs, lifetime values, for example, and so on and so forth. Another thing that we saw is authenticity, like I said before in the previous slide, activating or acting on behalf of authenticity in two main ways. One is user-generated content. The social teams saw and understood that one of the, I won't say easy, because it's never easy, the social team work, but they saw that it's a little bit easier or less hard to use the content created by their own community members. They found out, for example, that there are some community members that are very, very much creative, very funny, and so on and so forth, and they use them. The second thing is, of course, what we've always seen, social teams have, in close to 100% of the cases, humans that reply and interact with humans. Okay, so the authenticity comes in two shapes, if you like. One is the social team's actual teammates, and the other one is with user-generated content. We saw that there is a regular posting schedule. We saw that social teams try to educate their social users to receive at least one post a day. In most cases, 2, 3, 4. We have some cases of 10 posts a day. Post by post, I'm considering stories as well, and so on. I mean, and some sort of an interaction, but they got them educated, quote unquote, to expect such posting on a regular basis. Most of our customers, they use a Creator Studio for for pre-scheduling, and later and buffer and so on. Another thing that was very interesting to see that many of the brands, the studios, the games, they have, of course, more than one platform. They have Facebook and or Instagram and or TikTok and LinkedIn and Twitter. But they also have Discord and such. we saw that they kind of bring from, for example, a very strong community in Discord, they try to bring some of the community members also to other platforms where the social teams can perform better. Okay, for example, you can do things over Instagram that you cannot do in Discord and vice versa. So we saw kind of like a mix and match all the time to bring people here, to bring people there. And it was pretty exciting to see. We didn't expect that, by the way. One before last thing is about 2022, is that we saw that social teams divide the interactions from their social users back to the game or back to the page or account. They divided into 3 types of interactions. One is support-ish kind of interactions. By the way, they represent around 10% of all interactions, people asking for assistance, for help. The game crashes, the app doesn't work, and so on and so forth. They attend it. The second type is troll-ish kind of interactions, represent, by the way, around 20%. In these interactions, you're probably familiar with that, people with bad language, people trying to steal, quote unquote, players to other games with pasting links in their comments, and all sorts of negative, as we call them, negative interactions. The last but not least, 70% of the interactions, thank God, are healthy ones in context of your post, are interactions that bring back to the game, which is the highest or the biggest challenge and the most important challenge of all social stakeholders, to bring back to the game. What we saw is that social teams, in some cases, even divide themselves into mini sub departments or units to make sure that each and every one of these 3 types, support-ish, troll-ish, and healthy interactions, are being attended and managed. Last but not least, okay, you see on the 3rd bullet that I wrote and I talked about regular posting schedule. But which kind of posts? The posts that we saw that are becoming more and more typical, not the average, like close to 100% of the posts of the strongest social teams among our customers are the call to interaction posts, what we call to interaction. Posts that are very, very much exciting in the sense of they add luck, not only skill, for example, raffle. They add a skill, not only luck. For example, find the missing piece of the puzzle, and these kind of posts. Very simple ones, very complicated ones, like a very big kind of good mess, okay? That the social users are, again, being educated to expect exciting posts that will bring them to interact, and then, of course, after the interaction, back to the game. This is 2022 deep dive. I want to talk a little bit about 2023. Okay, in 2023, we saw we expect a very big thing. This thing is connected to what I told you in the beginning about the matrix of robotish, authentic, and manual and scalable. In the end of the day, we believe, and we started seeing it already in January, that more and more social teams are moving to different means and methods and ways to keep the authenticity. This is a must, but to do it with different technologies, to do it in a scalable way, okay? To bring themselves to work mainly on creative tasks, data-oriented kind of solutions and decisions, and less working on the repetitive, technical, boring kind of tasks. I mean, the tasks within the daily routine of social teams. Let's see what we expect By the way, we saw it already in some cases. Okay, so 2023, what we believe that you should consider doing. So first of all, the rise of social SEO. It means that we saw that social teams see that as time goes by, more and more search is being done over social platforms. Okay, there is a big. We don't have the time to get into this now, of course. But the main idea is to have social users finding you, your brand, the fastest, the easiest, the most accurate way. And this is something that we see that is on the rise. Okay, giving respect to this issue of SEOing your social different social platforms. We talked a little bit about UGC in the context of user-generated content. In the context of authenticity. So we see more and more than that. But, or in addition to that, okay, we see IGC, influencers-generated content or influencers-based generated content. We see that social teams are not being able, they find themselves with some sort of a limit of the usage of the community members with creating content. It's hard to manage them, and it's hard to trust them that they will deliver, and so on and so forth. For that, there are influencers, and we see more and more of the authentic content within the social activities arrives from influencers, which is more business-wise, more ordered and easier to work with. Again, it's never easy, but less hard. We see a new channel, the recurring notifications. I don't know if you know about this channel. We call it a new channel because as we saw social teams are working with is that they treat their Facebook page, Instagram account, TikTok channel, and so on and so forth. They have now a new channel, the recurring notifications, the messages, the private messages that arrive through the Facebook Messenger. Okay, I don't know if you know it. If you don't, I recommend to read. Afterwards, I will give my email. I can bring you up to details very, very fast. This is an exciting new channel. Recommended to check. And last but not least, we see that AI brings the scalable authenticity to different levels. Okay, we see social teams work with, for example, suggested captions for posts. Okay, different suggestions for posts, for interacting, for comments, for automatic replies, public replies, private replies, and so on and so forth. And we see that this is a booster for social teams. There is a catch here, okay? Maybe even two catches, okay? One is that AI is not magic, or not magic of its own, okay? It needs a human magician, okay? You can say that AI is a technological magic, but you need a human magician to work with it. It's not like, bring me some AI to solve this. No, the AI helps you save time without hurting your authenticity, I mean, as a social or community or communication manager. So this is one catch. The second catch, you cannot do it by yourself, just to go on to ChatGPT and to save your time. No, the AI or the serious AI, as we call it, okay, is built upon ad hoc trained AI models that are based on your brand's social activity. Okay, so for example, we are creating ad hoc models per each channel of each of our customers in order to make sure that the authenticity that was kept and brought by human beings, the social managers, is being kept as well. Again, it is not replacing the humans. It brings the humans to be scalable. For example, if I'm a community manager and I want to reply with my own tone, okay? Also, when I'm out of office, the AI model that is trained per my tone will be able to do this. Only, of course, one is small example. I owe you something. So the second reason why I'm giving this talk, and not only here but in other places as well, is more a philosophical one. I truly believe that humans plus machines bring the creativity, the human creativity, to different places, to much bigger value kind of places, with different ways to bring social to your social users, to get back from them interactions, and at the end of the day, to bring them back more and more to your game, bettering the DAO, the daily active users count metric, bettering the retention, even in some cases, the average revenue per user. That was me. I'll be more than happy to meet you if you want. There's my email. And if you want the full report on which this lecture is based, you can enter our website and take it from there. It's free. It's long, but it's recommended to check it.
Thanks for your fantastic lecture. It was really interesting. And I guess we've got a question from the audience, from Mohammed, founder of ITMS Studio. So the question is community building working for the hyper-casual games which appear and disappear in some months only?
Yeah, so this is a great question. Of course, when we say, in the title of my lecture, social teams in the games arena, of course, the games arena is divided into many arenas, okay? So for example, the hyper casual, so the retention, for example, is of less significance usually. Nevertheless, for example, using the recurring notification, which is, I don't want to call it a mini social kind of platform, but for some uses, for example, we will see it in 2023, we don't know yet. For example, for hyper casual, where the retention is low or lower and the community building is of less significant, the recurring notification would be amazing, because you could build a community, an ad hoc community, a nano community in a way, for a game without the cost of creating a Facebook page, an Instagram account, and so on and so forth. Again, very highly recommended to check it.
Thanks, Nim, and thank you for your lecture. I hope to see you during our next conferences as well. Thank you once again for everything.
You can meet me today in the panel. I have a panel.
Oh, really?
I'm a panelist as well. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time and support, Stacy, and for overcoming the first hurdle that we have with the technical issues. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah. Thank you. See you later.
Bye-bye.